We kind of get to see how deep the rabbit hole goes with the homie Muse, and that baby gone. that baby is gone. You hear me? It ain't no redeeming, bro. Ain't no redeeming, bro. He is gone. He out of here.
Woke up this morning, feeling that shine. Whole team got the glow. You can see it in the stride. Got me feeling brand new, feeling brand new, feeling brand new, feeling brand new. Got me feeling brand new, feeling brand new, feeling brand new, feeling brand new. Yeah.
What up, YouTube? It's your boy JusRzd, and today we are tapping in with another edition of Rage Reviews. Today, Daredevil, Born Again, episode 7. I've heard some mixed reviews. I've heard some mixed reviews with this particular episode. I thought it was dope. I thought it was a dope episode. We got to see some things revealed and some things confirmed that we already knew. This episode was interesante, to say the least. I don't know why I just did that, but who cares? The Dominican's coming out. I don't know. But yeah, episode 7, man. It was interesting for me with the character work of some surprising characters. We kind of get to see how deep the rabbit hole goes with the homie Muse, and that baby gone. that baby is gone. You hear me? It ain't no redeeming, bro. Ain't no redeeming, bro. He is gone. He out of here. Which, I mean, we knew, but we ain't know. Now we know. Like, that baby up out of here. But this particular episode, man, starts out, of course, with the ramifications of what transpired in the last episode, episode 6, with, of course, Hector Ayala's niece being rescued by Daredevil. Kingpin is being reported the information from his crew, and pretty much being told about the fact that there was a survivor from the attack, and that it was who it was. And just he was like, well, first of all, they were like, we found the layer. It was like, well, wait, what? How'd y'all find the layer? Well, apparently this happened, and then this happened. He was like, wait, there was a survivor? Yes, there was a survivor. It's this young lady. Well, how did she survive? She was like a little kid. He was like, well, apparently she said she was rescued by Daredevil. And of course, that makes Kingpin's ears perk up, and he kind of is like, oh, so he back in action. Mind you, of course, nobody knows outside of Kingpin the relationship that him and Daredevil have. So it's interesting to see him clock it, his ears perk up, and just be like, oh, huh. So he back. All right. It was a lot of alright moments in this particular episode. Alright, he back. Alright, square up then. We just see him kind of try to navigate, still trying to navigate the world as the mayor and do his mayoral duties, but also dipping into that Kingpin bag as well. And it was interesting. He sent some detectives to go investigate, to pretty much go investigate the lair of Muse. And of course, they went down there to investigate them. And then through the process of them attempting to investigate, we cut to Matt's story. And Matt is him and Sherry aren't really seeing eye to eye. Sherry's upset that he put back on the mask. Of course, his lawyer friend that he's working for doesn't know any of this, and Sherry is kind of the confidant to both of them. So he's not trying to spill Matt's secrets, but he also pissed at Matt because he's like, bro, you just gonna throw your life back away and put the mask back on? And Matt's like, look, bro, buddy murdered 60 people. he murdered 60 people, and it would have been 61 had I not put the cowl back on. So like, Matt, you kind of cooking with this argument. I mean, you're spitting facts at this point. Like, I feel Sherry for being upset because he cares about Matt. I get it. But at the same time, had he not done what he done, Hector Ayala's niece would have been up out of here. So it's just like, yeah, you want to get mad, but at the same time, can you really get mad? Because the police weren't going to make it in time. She was going to be up out of here if Matt didn't do what he did. And so we see Matt just pretty much tell him, like, yo, stall me out. I feel you, but stall me out. And so he ends up going to the lair, despite despite how Cherry feels, and despite how his lawyer friend that he works for feels as well. And so it was just interesting to see their dynamic, because Cherry really cares about both of them, and it was just like, yo, it would be nice if y'all trusted me, because I see a lot of y'all talking. I see you and Matt talking all the time, and Matt tells me some stuff and you tell me some stuff, but I don't feel like y'all being all the way 100 with it. And so I was like, well, that's a fair point. We'll see how that develops. I feel like they'll let her in eventually, just not today. So we see what we didn't see was Adam, but we do see is while the police do their investigation, as soon as they kind of depart, and we see the anti-vigilante task force there as well doing their investigation around Muse's lair. And then once they depart, of course, Daredevil drops in, does his own investigation. He has a moment at the beginning of the episode where him and his girl, the therapist, they are having some intimate time. I still like how they're handling the intimate moments between them two, because it's very kind of classy. It's like, yeah, they give us a little touching and kissing, but then they cut to it before anything else start popping up. I'm just like, I appreciate that, because we don't always need, like, I feel like content nowadays when it comes to films and series and stuff like that has been like overly sexualized. So it's just like, it's dope to see that, yeah, they'll give you a little bit to let your mind wander, and then they'll cut to the next scene. I'm just like, that was dope. They cut to a pigeon flying away off a ledge, and then they cut back to them having a conversation about everything that transpired. She noticed that he had bruises on him when he was in the shower, and she was kind of fussing at him a little bit, like, why can't you tell me about these things? He was just like, I mean, I'm blind. It comes a part of the territory. I might slip and fall here and there. And they just kind of had it out a little bit. She kind of she kind of gave him some therapy tools and tidbits, just telling him to not to compartmentalize his trauma, but to actually deal with it. And he kind of played it as a joke. He was like, I get it, doctor. But it was just funny to see their interactions. And he felt on her face, because he's blind, you know, they gotta feel stuff, but he felt on her face, and then they shared an intimate moment. But that comes into play later on in the episode, because when he's investigating Muse's lair, he sees a bunch of paintings, because when he ended up talking to, as Matt, Hector Ayala's niece earlier, well, a little bit later on in the episode, before he actually goes to the lair of Muse. And she keeps saying that Muse kept drawing these faces. He kept drawing these faces. And so he ends up finding the faces when he investigates the actual layer of Muse, and he feels on some of the faces, and then he gets to one specifically and realizes that it's his girl, the therapist. And he realizes that she's probably going to be the next victim. And mind you, this is still broad daylight. So he leaves out with the suit on. He almost gets caught by a cop, but then he accidentally hits him with a... I don't know if it was an accident. Dude, I feel like the dude scared him a little bit. His initial reaction was to throw something at him. And so he ended up hitting him in the face. And he flies away. And then the police end up contacting Kingpin about what they find, about the investigation, and about them having a Daredevil sighting in broad day. And he was like, "You sure it's him?" They was like, "Yeah." And they was like, "Well, should we call backup for the doctor? Because it looks like that's gonna be his next target." And he was like, nah, the anti-vigilante task force is gonna handle this, so y'all get to it. And so they end up making their way to her office, and before they even start making their way to before they even get to her office, she has a client. Of course, one of her clients being Kingpin and Vanessa. Another one of her clients, which we were introduced earlier in the series, and I think episode 2 or 3, happens to be Bastion, who is Muse. And Bastion comes in there, he's got his duffel bag and everything, and they sit and have a conversation. And the whole time they're having this conversation, he's like pouring almost like his heart out in a sense, but not in a romantic type of way, just kind of like a confession before you do something terrible. So it was almost like his manifesto. He was like pouring out his heart in that moment. He was just like, yo, is Buddy tweaking? Like, is he about to do this? Is he about, what are you talking about? And then cut to one of the police detectives actually having a conversation with Kingpin about who they suspect is actually Muse, which is Bastion. And they pretty much run down what happened in his childhood. They run down the different reasons as to why they suspect is Bastion. And this is all going on while he's having the conversation with the therapist. And come to find out, he ends up confessing to the therapist that he is Muse. He ends up painting Muse in blood, well, a silhouette of Muse's mask in blood on a piece of paper in her office, and then proceeds to pretty much tie her up, tie off her arm, and cut her from like her elbow down, and just kind of let her bleed out. And it looked like he was gonna create like some type of work of art or do some type of, I don't know what he was about to do, to be honest, because he pulled out this huge tarp, and while she's bleeding out, and before he could truly do anything to her, even though she tried to run away a few times, and he got a hold of her every time, Daredevil busts in the window and pretty much goes ham on Buddy. But we find out that Muse was trained in Taekwondo at an early age, but he ended up killing his Taekwondo coach. But that was great. That was crazy because they reported it, but nothing was ever filed back then, and they had no notification of like the cause of death. And so that was interesting that they never investigated that further. But because that could have been nipped in the bud early. But we're here now. So him and Daredevil are going back and forth in her office. Daredevil gets stabbed. Then we see Muse look at the therapist. He's about to go for the jugular on her, and Daredevil pretty much shoots him with his grappler, pulls him back, and they start fighting again. And so there's blood everywhere at this point because everybody bleeding. She bleeding out. Daredevil got cut, so he bleeding. Muse just got shot through his shoulder with the with the grappler, so he bleeding. And so there's blood everywhere. And Daredevil, like I said, is just beating the brakes off of him. And before anybody else can realize, the therapist actually ends up getting the gun that Muse had when he came into her office and ends up shooting him multiple times. And as of right now, Muse is listed as deceased by the end of the episode. But unfortunately, once she did that, because she exerted so much energy and lost so much blood, she ends up passing out. And of course, Matt, caring about her, he's like, oh, dude, stay with me. And says her name, and of course she just knows this is Daredevil. She doesn't know this as Matt. And so she's like passed out, but like kind of in it, but also kind of out of it. And so we just see that interaction, and then later on in the episode we see her actually wake up in the hospital, Matt by her side, and she's like, yo, I think Daredevil said my name. And he was like, what? He said your name? That's crazy. Like, that's crazy. Whoa. We see them pretty much try to play that off. And it was just funny to see Matt one of those moments like, oh snap, whoa. He said your name. And it was just funny, man, just seeing seeing their interaction in that moment. Then we see Kingpin on television pretty much making a declaration about the anti-vigilante task force, and that people who wear masks won't be terrorizing the city any longer and won't be holding the city hostage at all, and holds up the Muse mask because they just defeated them. And so he's spinning the story, instead of it being Daredevil who took out Muse, it's now the anti-vigilante task force is the one who took him out. And so we all we see a BB report of the different people on the street, and they're like, nah, we saw Daredevil go through that window. We didn't see the police up there yet. Before the police got there, we saw Daredevil go through that window. And it's funny because even BB and Daniel, Kingpin's little lackey, they were having an interesting conversation where Daniel was just like, look, you can either come out one or two sides of this. You can either run with the story that the anti-vigilante task force is the one who took out Muse, or you can go with the Daredevil one. But I promise you, your life is going to be terrible if you go with the Daredevil one. And so it's interesting. We didn't really get to see which one she chose to go with. Assuming that she is who she is, she'll probably go with the truth, which is that Daredevil is the one that took him out. Even though it wasn't Daredevil or the anti-vigilante task force that took him out, it was actually the doctor. But it was with Daredevil's help. So it's going to be interesting to see how this story unfolds. I believe we have 2 more episodes left. And the episode ended with what I'm still kind of confused and questioning a little bit. I'm not going to hold you. Because I don't know if in this particular episode, I'll give you my theory in a second. But in this particular episode, we see Vanessa kind of stepping back into the Kingpin role that she was in when Kingpin left to go deal with Echo. And while she's stepping back into it, she meets with the young dude that pretty much pulled up on Kingpin a couple episodes ago. And pretty much is like, he kind of propositions her like, yo, I feel like the ship ran smoother when you was at the head, so maybe we need new leadership, you know what I mean, and I'd be able to do something about that. Pretty much saying he'd be willing to take out Kingpin if she's willing to step up to the role. She ends up sending him a text later on in the episode telling him where Kingpin was and saying that he was alone. Dude pulls up there to try to take him out, and Kingpin had one of the homies, had the right-hand man in the shadows waiting for him as he proceeded to eat his steak, his protein. Got to get that protein in. And ends up popping the dude before he can assassinate Kingpin. And then Kingpin tells the buddy, text Vanessa to see if she wants me to bring her home anything. And I'm like, I don't know if Vanessa was really trying to take him out, or if Vanessa was just setting Buddy up because now he was doing too much. I feel like it was more the latter. I feel like she was setting up old Buddy to get him taken out because he was doing too much and he wasn't going to be ruly. He wasn't going to listen. You know what I mean? So I low-key feel like Vanessa's still with Kingpin, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they flipped it either way, to be honest. But that was pretty much the whole 7th episode, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm tapped in with the show. I'm excited to see how it unfolds. 2 more episodes left, and man, oh man, man, oh man, Matt's back in the cow, and hey, rescuing and saving lives. I'm disappointed that Muse got taken out as quickly as he did, but I'm interested to see what they do with that, because we all thought years ago when Daredevil was on Netflix that Bullseye had been taken out, and then we see later on he got the adamantium spine. So we shall see. Is Muse really dead? I mean, he's been pronounced deceased on the scene, so hey, maybe somebody will do something with that. I don't know. We shall see. I'm excited. In this particular episode, I'll probably give it like an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. It was solid. It was a lot of fast moving pieces, but it was solid. It wasn't too much. It wasn't a whole lot of character work this episode, but I like what they did with the Muse character work. But I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I really like this episode. The fight was fire. Fight was dope. But yeah, just seeing how everything unfolded, I really like how this pushes the story forward. So let me know in the comments below if you agree with me or if you feel like I'm tripping. But let me know. Let's chop it up about episode 7 of Daredevil Born Again. It's been the full recap and review. But stay tapped in, stay tuned in, stay locked in. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so that way you can be notified anytime we drop a new video on the channel. And never forget, it's free soul to the show free. Let's get it.